Welcome to Whisky.com, where fine spirits meet. My name is Horst Lüning. This is my son Ben. And today we have a Irish whiskey, an Irish pot still single malt whiskey here in our cask. It's the Quiet Man, 12 years of age, finished in sherry casks. Well, what's special with this one? It's an independent bottler in Ireland.
Yes, and you said it's a single malt whiskey.
Mm-hmm.
So we don't know on which stills it has been distilled.
But I have an educated guess.
Okay, so you think it's a pot still? Or
It's a pot still?
It's a pot still.
They write it here somewhere on the label.
Okay, so they do write it. Okay,
Yeah.
cool, nice.
And, well, there are just one possibility, probably two. Kool-Aid.
Kool-Aid, definitely. What about Bushmills?
Bushmills typically is too big.
So you think they don't sell? The thing is that they belong to a big company, right?
They were sold sometime in the past.
A few times sold, right? So I guess if you need cash flow, they sell a few casks. So
They will sell their grandmother.
they sell their grandmother. I would say it's probably Kool-Aid, but maybe it's Bushmills.
Yeah, because the distillery then, there were only 3 distilleries in Ireland producing, and it was Middleton, the third one, and they had always a mixture between pot still whiskey and column still whiskey, and it was always a mixture of malted and unmalted barley. So here we have a single malt whiskey, and this one is from Northern Ireland.
Ooh, cool.
So this is an English whiskey. No, it's Northern
British.
Ireland. It's and it's located in Derry. And you said in the news that they are building a new distillery.
Not quite sure if I mentioned it, but I looked up the cask when I wrote down all the ABVs and all that kind of stuff, and it's from Londonderry, and they actually have the address here. That was my hint. The Quiet Man Craft Distillery Ltd, 10 Ross Downey Road, Derry, Northern Ireland.
Derry or Londonderry?
Yeah, that's the cool thing. The city is called Derry or Londonderry. Not quite sure why, but they're kind of a city with 2 names. And they say craft distillery. They're actually building a distillery in Londonderry. And hopefully they will, at some point in time, have their own whiskey and bring it out as the Quiet Man.
So this is probably not a North Irish whiskey, but a Republic Irish whiskey. Yeah, and if the Brexit is moving on,
Maybe
there will be a border in between. Yeah. So
Yeah.
I crossed a fortnight ago. I've been visiting Ireland, and everywhere new distilleries were built. You came to a town, new whiskey distillery. So everywhere were built, and then we passed from Northern Ireland to Ireland on a very small road on the coast, north of the Cooley distillery, and then the tarmac on the road changed, and there was a line. On the other side was no line. On the side was a stone wall and a wooden fence. That must have been the border between Northern Ireland and Ireland and the Republic. So it's gone. Definitely, it's gone.
Yeah, I've.
So they say this is a Republic or an English whiskey is nonsense.
Nonsense. Yeah. So it's a 46% ABV, not colored, not chill filtered, 12 years of age. Pretty good. Pretty good stats. Now it just has to hold up the taste. And the
Quite a
Quiet
color,
Man,
yeah.
Quiet Man, this year is now a sherry finish, and it's Oloroso, or what does it say?
Oh, probably Oloroso. I think they haven't said it.
Haven't said it.
No.
Bourbon matured sherry finish, non-chill filtered. Bourbon cask finished in Oloroso sherry
In
casks.
Oloroso.
Oh yeah.
So the Oloroso sherry is fully fermented, so there is no residual sugar in it, but a lot of fruitiness typically in it,
And nuttiness.
and nuttiness from the casks. And this one is 12 years of age and costs between 60 and 70 euros, dollars, pounds. And this is quite a medium to low price for an aged whiskey in Ireland. So as soon as you see two-digit figures on the label for the age, then prices rise steeply in Ireland because they didn't have so much of it over the last years. They were able to ask for every money. So they are starting in the business. They have that 12 years of age, and they are still affordable. Well,
I think there is another one, also 12 years of age, with a Bordeaux wine finish, and there is a bourbon cask, matured one.
I don't know if it was a 10-year or a 12-year-old. I think it was also a 12-year-old, yes. And it carries the name The Quiet Man due to the father of the independent bottler and now the craft distillery builder. And he was a bartender, and he was often took with his father to the pub, and so he mixed all the drinks and poured the whiskies, and he was the quiet man behind the bar, and he acquired all that taste from a bar, those smells, and this brought him, written down here on the label, if it's right or not, you don't know, to the whiskey itself. Probably he was able to have some drinks in younger ages in the bar. Here, poor boy, take one. No idea.
Okay, let's try.
Cheers. You switched the camera too fast. Good oranges, really oranges in it, and bringing more and more. You're laughing for what? And those oranges, they are quite intense and go over to those bergamot oranges.
I think it's awesome. I was laughing because you skipped the nosing. That's why I was laughing. It's a lovely, juicy, sweet one, and it's really typical Oloroso bourbon, Oloroso sherry cask whiskey. Now we both got ourselves out of it, but it's a really, it's untypical for Irish whiskey. Usually, when you have an Irish whiskey, it's a very sweet, round whiskey. They're mellow and round and easy drink. This one has edges. This has
it's a single malt whiskey.
Nuttiness, a little spiciness in there, juiciness, a lot of fruitiness in there. So it has round complexity and edges in there, and it's pretty.
So you're right. I skipped the smelling.
Let's do the nosing
because
then.
I have an appointment going on. So hurry up first. So you smell these oranges as well as you taste them, and it's like these bergamot oranges with this oily, intense flavor, more intense than a typical orange or a tangerine, clementine, something. And then there is this dark fruitiness, but it's not too intense. So the distillery character is still there with these oranges and not so much the sherry cask influence. So it's a finish. It's not a complete maturation over 12 years in those sherry casks, but a finish. So it's wonderful. It's not bitter in the aftertaste. It's not too intense. It just gives you the right complexity and a quite long aftertaste.
For me, it's a bit of a blossom of citrus plants. I actually do have 5 or 6 citrus plants. They are usually a bit more intense. This one is a bit more mild with that flavor. And there is a good amount of juicy fruits like grapes or orange juice or something like that. And it's a well mixture, definitely. You do have a little bit of a bourbon influence, and that citrus note is also a bit in that bourbon style.
So in the aftertaste, you're getting the vanilla as well from the bourbon cask.
It's a good finish,
so
just the right amount.
I would suggest that this was a only slightly matured refill bourbon cask, which was then built up with the sherry cask finishing as it should be, and this gives this wonderful complexity between distillery character and the light sherry cask influence.
I like it. The thing is, to categorize this, it's a drinkable one. You can really sip it nicely, but there's also a bit of complexity in it. So it's, for me, it's one of these whiskeys that is just in between sipping, just analyzing and giving it full attention, and just a side on the dram to relax. So it's in between these categories.
So in the moment, probably you hear some noise. It's just pouring cats and dogs outside. So it's summer in Germany.
Somewhere in Germany.
like in Ireland or Great Britain.
Right. Yeah. Okay. So thank you very much for watching. If you found this video interesting, then please feel free to share it with your friends, and see you next time.